Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings. Welcome to Ecommerce Conversations, a weekly podcast from Practical E-commerce, hosted by entrepreneur Eric Bandholz.
What is going on, Internet? Eric Bandholz back again with another E-commerce Conversations. I hope all is going well on the other side of the Internet. On the other side of the table from me is no one. No one at all. It's been about 6 months since my last solo update, so I figured now would be a good time to give you an update as to what's going on at Beardbrand, the challenges that we face, how we're trying to tackle them, the challenges that we try to tackle, and the results that we're getting from them. So let's dive right in. The biggest thing for us over the past 6 months has been trying to continue to lower our costs. One of the big initiatives that we saw was going to be moving to a new 3PL. So we searched 3PLs, and ideally we wanted to get as close as our manufacturer as possible. That was a strategy behind our move. Historically, we've had a lot of issues where we run out of stock or our manufacturing is, right in line with when we're going out of stock. And then we would put our products on a truck, and then it would take like a week or 2 weeks to get to our 3PL, and then they would have to receive it and send it out. So the goal was to help shorten that time between completion of manufacturing and sending products out. So the thought process is, one is we've been consolidating our manufacturing to one particular manufacturer. So since we've been doing that, let's see if we can move our 3PL closer to that. So rather than a week to get our products to our 3PL, maybe it'll be a day or, a couple of hours really. And that should help really tighten up the supply chain. Fortunately for us, our manufacturers in the Midwest, which has good logistics. So they can get East Coast, West Coast, down in Texas. It's kind of centrally located for everything, kind of averse from natural disasters. I think maybe they'll have some winter storms from time to time, but they're not going to have what's a big problem to us is, our products getting hot and melting like they do. Our current 3PL was in Texas or Dallas. So moving from Dallas to the Midwest was a big initiative to us. And hopefully we were paying quite a bit. We're actually paying, it was like $13 per package on average for our orders. In shopping, we really boiled it down to two options. One was working directly with our manufacturer to also handle our 3PL, or to work with a third-party company that only does logistics. Effectively, the price was about the same. We ended up deciding to go with the fulfillment company primarily because the setup time was going to be quicker. We could get it done in June versus October. And it just felt like it might be best keeping a relationship simple with manufacturer focusing on manufacturing and our 3PL focus on sending products out. The good news is if it doesn't work out, then we can always kind of try going with our manufacturer and giving that a run. And then if that doesn't work out, then my next option would be to, bring it here back to Texas and kind of do it ourselves, get a warehouse, hire some people and, really own that thing. That's probably obviously that's the order of preference. I do think that sending products out is going to be the most cost-effective way. I do think there's a lot of optimizations in that, but I do think it takes a lot of brain energy. So your mind thinking about how to send packages out efficiently could be spent on how to spread awareness to your brand or how to develop new products or how to kind of build for the future. So every component that you bring in-house is taking a little bit of that brain energy away from things that could fundamentally change your business. So those are kind of how I think about making decisions when we're determining whether to work with something in-house or out-of-house. So the transition went pretty well. How we did it was we sent half of our inventory up to the new 3PL while still shipping from our existing 3PL until our new 3PL could be set up. And then once they were set up, we switched it over and they started shipping all of our products from there. And then we shipped the rest of the products from our old 3PL to our new 3PL. Of course, nothing is perfect, and there were some hiccups along the way. But I would say it was generally, I might be overstating how simple it is because I've got a good team member who really managed the process well. But there was like one or two products that, didn't get split that were kind of left behind. So we were out of stock for a couple weeks as we made that transition. The other challenge is, and the lesson learned is, I think we could have spent more time just watching how the new 3PL packaged up the orders and sent them out. We caught a couple of errors through our first invoice. We noticed on our invoice that the cost we were expecting to go down actually went up. And what we realized is they were packaging our products in boxes far too big for what they should be and weren't really efficient with that use. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work through those initial hiccups and drive those costs down. I guess time will ultimately tell. My big fear as an entrepreneur is, you work with a 3PL and they promise you that they can save you a bunch of money. Then you get in there and, get nickeled and dimed to death, and then you end up not saving any money. So if that happens, I'll be sorely disappointed because we spent a lot of time giving them all of our data of what our orders look like, what our units look like, how the weights were, what the sizes of our products were. And, they gave us estimates based on all that information. So I'll feel like it's a little bit of a bait and switch if they don't get close to that. So the jury's still out on that. I wish I could have recorded this maybe 2 or 3 weeks later to get a better feel if they are starting to save us money. But I do feel like at least we will be able to save money on the shipping costs from manufacturing to our 3PL. Whereas that used to be a few $1,000s per order to send pallets around America. Now that should, in theory, be a couple $100s. So if you listen to my last update, you guys know that we also are dealing with an ADA lawsuit. Everyone recommended that we settle and move on with my life. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't do that as an area of principle. I felt like it was only fair to fight it. It seemed like an egregious lawsuit. The plaintiff was suing 50 companies all at once. They never attempted to reach out to us to serve them in a way that we could serve them. They had claims in their lawsuit that weren't even true, that we didn't have like alt tags on images, which we did have. So I felt like it was a money grab. And personally, I don't really want to reward that type of behavior. And I know if we look at a lawsuit from a pure, nickel and dime perspective, that settling is probably the best case. Like you save money, it might be lower, you move on with your life, you get back to focusing on the business. I do think there's actually some downsides to settling. And this is where I would encourage operators, if you have the ability to deal with the stress of a lawsuit, I would encourage you to fight them all, especially the egregious ones. Now, if you have, I'm not talking about like legitimate lawsuits where you're in the wrong, you did something bad. I'm talking about situations where it clearly looks like an ambulance chaser or a shakedown. I would encourage it, like if all entrepreneurs and all operators fought these lawyers rather than settling, they would soon learn and realize that it's not a good use of their time to go after e-commerce operators. So actually by settling, you are propagating and encouraging them to continue doing this. I know there's risk in that you could end up in a lawsuit that costs, 10x or 7x what a settlement could be. And I also understand, like, if you're not in a financial position to do that, how that can be a tough position. But I would say if you do have the means to fight the lawsuit, always do it to the best of your abilities. So we did that. We've decided not to settle. I'll tell you a little bit from our negotiation standpoint. In the early days, I probably would have settled. Like if they came in with an offer of $5,000, a couple $1,000, I probably would have paid that and moved on. The fact is they were trying to come in around $20,000 is where they were starting, and how we have our website and how we, how quickly we were able to resolve any ADA websites. If you go to our website, I would feel pretty confident that it is navigable to someone. We've done a lot of testing with our product. We have rolled out a lot of best practices for ADA compliance on our website. So I do feel confident that our website is strong against, future lawsuits or existing lawsuits. So we decided they weren't willing to come down that low. I didn't even want to go over 10K. So in my mind, anything over 10K was too much. I thought maybe I'd do 5,000. 7,500, I wouldn't feel happy about, but I might be able to do it depending on what day you got me. And then I pretty much told them the longer this goes on, the lower I'm going to settle this for. So I'll settle at this much. The next time we have this conversation, I'm dropping the price. And I did that. And then next time we have this conversation, I drop the price. I'm like, this is pretty much the lowest I'm going to settle for. After this, pretty much we're not going to settle. We're going to take it all the way to court. And that's where it kind of ended. It was like, all right, I told my lawyer, we're not settling. We're willing to go to court. We're willing to go through discovery. We're willing to do all the work that it takes. And my lawyer, fortunately, was pretty cool with that. They relayed that on to them. And apparently, it's still going on. So, maybe this is, I don't know what I can update or not, but we're going to continue to fight it. We're going to continue to show our intents. And our lawyer thinks that, of course, we're in a pretty good position because they're defending us. But one of the things they mention is that the person who sued us didn't make an attempt to reach out to us before suing us. And I guess there is some precedence somewhere that should be one of the things that a plaintiff does before bringing a lawsuit to the court. So he hopes that they just drop it, and that's going to happen in September. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So time will tell. We continue on. I guess I'll know in early September as to what happens with this. But I'm prepared to spend a lot more money, go up to New York, do everything we can to defend our brand and our website, how we serve our customers, what we do. And this isn't so much for defending ourselves now, but also for future litigations. If someone sees that we're not willing to settle and willing to fight, ideally that will make us less of a target for future lawsuits. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is sales. Sales continue to be hard to come by. Not only that, we're in our slow season. Around September, it starts becoming our growing season for us. So it's been very hard for us to acquire customers. It's been very hard for us to scale spend on Meta. That's been our primary strategy. As of last week, we brought on X as a marketing platform, and we're going to see if we can try to acquire customers through X. I'm not sure that platform is going to work for us, but at this point, it's clear that Meta and our tactics and our strategies after working on this for about 9 months are not operating to the abilities that I think we can or we should. So it's been very frustrating. We do continue to try. We do continue to make new advertising, new content, put things out there with the hope that we are going to be able to find something that scales and grows. And that's all you really can do is just continue to try and test and hope that you find the magic bullet. I want to say magic bullet, but find the solution to your pain and suffering, for lack of better terms. One thing that I do think will help our sales is going to be launching of new products. We've got a new deodorant in the works. Hopefully that will be available by the end of the year. We've approved our prototypes, which we tested with our top customers. They absolutely love it. If you're looking for a natural deodorant aluminum-free deodorant that will not leave stains on your shirts, lasts all day long, smells great, then I'll have a product for you in the coming months. We'll also be releasing new products on Amazon, and I'll get into Amazon a little bit more in a bit, as well as new limited edition fragrances. So I've got a lot of ideas for new products, but some of those ideas are beyond what we normally do. Like they would probably take more investment to launch. And those, because of the way our business is looking at, those type of bigger projects have been put on the back burner to focus on things that are more aligned with our core expertise, which is like fragrance development and small batch. So those products, the new fragrance launches, the limited edition fragrances, the relaunch of our packaging on Amazon, hopefully are going to be a little shot in the arm. But I don't know if it's going to be the thing that really digs us out of this doldrum that we've been in for the past 2 years. But right now, it almost feels like we're kind of in water bear mode, which is just like, get to the next month, get to the next month, get to the next month. And then if we can kind of survive long enough, then when the environment improves, we'll be there to kind of capture things. We have noticed that our cost for some of our products have gone through the roof. And that's always frustrating because you get tasked with, in our industry in particular, I'm tasked with, do I raise the price of the product to be, significantly higher than I think the market will bear for this product? Or do I reformulate? Now, the past 2 years, historically, we've really never faced this question. We've kind of always developed products based on how we feel like is the best formulation. But this is the first time, really in 12 years, where I'm asking myself, is this ingredient, worth the premium? And my answer is kind of no. And I think that reformulation has to be considered. Now, we've reformulated in the past primarily to improve a product or to fix some issues that we've had. We've never really reformulated due to a driver and cost explosion. So at the end of the day, a reformulation is a reformulation, or an iteration to your product is an iteration. You have to be constantly evolving and improving. And it's going to be something that we'll do, and we'll test, and we'll get some prototypes out to our customers to see if the new product lives up to our expectations. And if not, I may just explore the higher price point, which, at the end of the day, may or may not make that product feasible in the marketplace, which is kind of something that may be a hard thing to do, to end a product that sells fairly well, but not at the rate or the margins that we need it to be successful. So those are the things that we're facing nowadays that are not fun problems to solve. But, at this time, I feel like we have the bandwidth and the energy, having done our move over 3PL, having fixed a lot of our manufacturing issues, having, worked on improving our AOV and our conversions and things like that. It seems like we kind of have the energy to tackle that project. Now, another major issue that we've had, which has been exhausting to me, is our performance of our organic content on YouTube. Specifically, we've seen a dramatic drop in the amount of organic views to our content. This has been going on really since like about 2019 or 2020, and we've been constantly trying to figure out ways to get out of, this slump. It's resulted in us, spinning off to 2 different channels and eventually spinning our shorts off to a different channel and tweaking the way we film our content and who we film our content with and how we edit it together. And everything we seem to do, it seems to just not work. Like whenever we roll out a new video, it seems to be our newest, worst performing video. So YouTube has this thing where they rank your most recent 10 uploads. And then based on that, it's ranked, between 1 and 10. And of course, not everything can be a number 1, but you want more of your videos uploaded towards the top than the bottom. That means your channel's growing. But if more of your videos end up towards the bottom, that means your channel is dying. So our channel's dying. We've been dealing with this for a while. And it seems like our content is no longer resonating with our audience or no longer resonating with the algorithm or whatever it is, they're just not hitting. We have had several contents hit on platforms like Instagram or TikTok or some shorts that have hit, but when those hit, they don't build the same affinity to our audience that a long form video will do. So they don't really have that same connection to the brand. And subsequently, we really don't see those viewers become customers at the same rate as someone who engages with our long form content. So creating long form content on YouTube is a big, important way. One of the things that we want to do and test is really trying to, get back down to the basics of being able to authentically connect with our audience. And the way I think we can do that is through live stream content and putting on a live stream show on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. And I guess hope that we're able to connect with our customers and rebuild that direct relationship. I'm a big believer in having a direct line of communication with the customers. And there's just so much insight gained from that, from the feeling of, what your products are doing, but also about what your messages are and also the content that you're producing and what people are excited about and what they're not excited about and how they're tuning in and what they're not tuning in for. So I want to, get back into that and bring a little bit of excitement and connection back to our brand. I know with 100% certainty that this live show will not get the kind of views that maybe some of our other content will get, but I feel like it will almost like start to heal the relationship that we've had with our customers and all the changes that we've made and help them understand like why we've made those changes, what we're facing, and what our thought process was. I don't think you can really explain yourself in an email, all the changes. And I don't think you can really explain yourself in a blog post, like the decisions behind everything. I really think there is something powerful about YouTube and long form content, and something even more powerful about live content creation, where you have an open door to what your customers are curious about. So that's something that I'm really excited to get going again, and something that I think can foster a spark for, maybe for me is really what it is like that spark of that connection with our customers. If you've been listening to all of my podcasts as of late, you'll feel like there's an overarching theme of negativity. And I don't know if that's because I'm bringing on guests who are going through similar things to me, and I'm trying to work through our challenges. So I want to learn how people are handling the hard times. I don't want to make it seem like all things are hopeless. I don't want you to listen to this and hear my challenges and think like, oh my God, like entrepreneurship is awful. I shouldn't be in it. I think this is what we signed up for. And at the end of the day, despite it being very challenging for, us and me and Beardbrand over these past 2 years, I am very much excited about the solutions that we're rolling out. I think some of them are going to hit. I really do think our deodorant can and will be a game changer for our customers and hopefully for a new audience that never considered Beardbrand in the past. I think there's innovative fragrances that we're going to launch that really help dive into a sensory, I want to call it an overload, but just a magical sensory experience for our customers that they've never had before. And those things really get me excited. It's hard though, because you get to a position where, at the end of the day, a business needs to be sustainable, and Beardbrand has to be sustainable. I'm not a trust fund baby. I'm not sitting on, millions of dollars. I can't ride this forever as a hobby. It has to make money. And, at a certain time, you really do have to make hard calls as to what you do. What do you cut? Is this product get cut? Does this marketing channel get cut? Does, this distribution channel get cut? Like all these things you have to take into consideration. How do you handle your team? And, what is your team focused on? And how can you make sure you're allocating their resources to the best of their abilities. It's not fun. Like there are some problems that are more fun than others, like developing new prototypes or new products and doing things innovatively. That's a lot of fun. Dealing with a business that is shrinking in size and costs are going up and sales are going down is not fun. But you don't get to choose the problems that you face, unfortunately. So you can whine about it and you can cry about it. And I think there's a little bit of a place in that to be able to clear your mind. But at the end of the day, your role as an entrepreneur needs to be your ability to identify what the problems of your business are. You need to prioritize those problems, making sure you're focused on the problems that are the biggest issue to the company, and then doing everything in your capabilities to align the resources to solve those problems. If you do that, then you can't not be successful. Now, for some people, the success comes quickly. Maybe they roll out something that was, I'm going to make an analogy for people who may be struggling out there. And maybe it's going to be good for people who are hitting home runs too. We've got 100 people in a room. We've got a coin we're flipping. We're going to flip it. Half the room's going to get it right that first time. So you got 50%. So we got 50 people. They made an entrepreneurial decision. They got it right. All right, we're going to flip it again. Half of those people get it right. So now you're down to 25 people. You flip it again. You're going to have 12 and a half people. They get it right. So what was that? 4 flips? No, that was 3 flips. All right, so we're going to flip it again the fourth time. You half those people. So that's 6 people who have gotten it right every single time. Now we flip it again and again, or 3 people get it right on the 5th flip. And then you're down to 1 person after 6 flips gets it right. Now, think about entrepreneurship. There are 2 million stores on Shopify. So you have people, just statistically speaking, who could just randomly made decisions. I wouldn't say randomly made decisions, but the decisions that they made were the right decisions. And they made them consecutively, if you're looking at 1 million stores, a lot of times in a row. You could have been going through the process exactly the right way and coming up with the decision that by all your indications was the right decision, but it wasn't. It was just the wrong decision. And that's life. Like, information is imperfect and you're not going to get it right. And there is a little bit of luck and timing and chance to building a business. But here's the thing is, like, if you're not there flipping the coin, making those decisions, and you just let the coin rest, you're never going to get that number called right. So as was said in my podcast with Molson, as he put it so beautifully, is like, you just got to get out there and flip that coin and make those guesses. You got to get out there, you got to make those decisions, and you have to focus on those problems and try to solve those problems. And again, try to make the calls and the bets in a way that will not put your company out of business. Try to make smaller bets if that's what you have to do, but keep on flipping, because eventually, over a long enough period of time, and with enough learning, enough energy, enough reps, you will be able to work yourself out of it. I feel that way. I feel strongly that way. Because if you don't feel that way, at the end of the day, you're hopeless. And you might as well give up. You might as well hang up the cleats. So if you want to make it as an entrepreneur, if you want to continue as an entrepreneur, if you want to find the success that you want to have as an entrepreneur, you have no choice other than to suffer through your problems, get out there every single day, do what you need to do, and build the business you're capable of. This has been another e-commerce conversations. Hope all is going to go well. I will miss you guys. Enjoy some Blast from the Past podcasts as I'm gone. Hit me up on Twitter. I won't be away. I'll be active. Cheers and keep on growing.